Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. It's 6:01 p.m. and we're here at the Zoning Board of Appeals of the City of Somerville, Massachusetts. Pursuant to Chapter 22 in the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted via remote participation. A recording of these proceedings can be accessed at any time using the registration link at the top of this agenda. Tonight, we do have a quorum, and we have Catherine Garavaglia. She's our acting clerk. And under general business, we have approval of minutes. Catherine, could you please take care of the motions?
Yes. Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented for the March 2nd, 2022 meeting and the April 6th, 2022 meeting.
Do I hear a second or any other conversation regarding this motion? Ann Brockelman?
Madam Chair, just a matter of procedure, we are able to approve the minutes where we were absent, correct? Because one of them, March 1, nobody was there.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
this is Charlotte Lee
Yes.
speaking.
Charlotte? Yes.
The board as a body approves the minutes rather than the individual members of the board. So regardless of
Right.
whether you as an individual were at a meeting of the board, you as an individual can vote in your capacity as a board member. So short answer, it doesn't matter if you were there, you can vote to approve the minutes, that's fine.
Thank you. That's what I believed
second
as
the
well.
motion.
Thank you for seconding. Second by Ann Brockelman. All in favor, please say aye. Oh, I have to go around. I'm sorry. Please answer in the affirmative if that so do it. Ann Fullerton.
Aye.
Ann Brockelman.
Aye.
Catherine Garavaglia.
Aye.
And Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show that the approval of the minutes carried. Next is public hearings. We're going a little out of order tonight, Madam Clerk. We're going to do 15 McGrath Highway first. And is this a new case for us to open on the variance, Ms. Charlotte?
Madam Chair, this is Charlotte
Yes.
speaking. Yes, both of the cases tonight are new
Thank you.
and will need to be opened.
Thank you. Ms. Catherine, could you please take care of 15 McGrath, please?
Yes. Madam Chair, I'd like to open 15 McGrath Highway P&Z 22-039, where the applicant is requesting an extension to a previously approved hardship variance identified as DRA number 2020-0334.
Thank you very much. Hello, is the applicant here tonight?
Madam Chair, I have promoted Mike Gerhart of the applicant team to be a panelist so that he can speak and address the board.
Beautiful.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Through you, Madam Chair, we're here requesting an extension to previous approved hardship variances. These variances were granted approximately a little less than a year ago by this board. We've been working diligently over the last year to obtain the necessary approvals to move forward with the project with various boards within the city and state. We're getting closer, but we would like to extend these variances to allow us the necessary time to wrap those up and commence the project. I have a short presentation if that would be helpful, but I don't want to take up any more of the board's time than necessary.
Well, we do have your report here. And I think everybody's ready to, what's the pleasure of the board? Would you like to have Mike go over this briefly? Fill us in on any questions you might have? Yes, no one's budging. Catherine, you want to hear some dialogue? Have you read all the attachments?
I have viewed the attachments, yes. I feel like if the applicant put some time into putting together a presentation and would like to say something, they should do so.
Mike, do you want to, go ahead, Mike, why don't you go ahead? Thank you,
Sure, it'll just
Catherine.
take a couple
Your
of minutes.
input.
I can bring the board up to speed, and just it'll take just a minute or two, so I can really focus on what we've been up to over the last year or so. Let me see if I can make sure I'm presenting my screen here.
I want a glass. No, just a glass. Regular, whatever, my cup. I don't want to drink out of the bottle.
Can you guys see that title slide?
Yeah.
It's a little hard to tell what I'm actually showing. Can you guys see that title slide here?
We
Yes, we can.
apply with a red circle.
Great. So 15 McGrath, this is, I'll dive into some detail here. So 15 McGrath Highway, the blue square here, McGrath Highway coming into Somerville, Cambridge line right here in this black dotted. The Twin City Plaza across the street. We've got the old car wash next to us that's now closed, and the small data center right next to us on the other side. The Green Line extension right behind us, which is now active right at the split between where it heads off to Medford and where it goes off to Union Square. Many folks are aware of the site. It's the old site of the Save More Liquor store, which is now moved over to Assembly and a vacant 2-story office building. The board may remember the building that was being proposed. It's a 9-story lab life science building. I think of most importance is the activities we've been under been going through since we got approval from this board for the variances back in April of 2021. We've had a robust public process since then, involving many steps and permits and approvals we've been working our way through. These included our neighborhood meetings right after we received this board approval back in April of 2021. And we went through the Urban Design Commission and got their recommendation letter. We submitted our application for site plan approval to the planning board in August. And then we worked through a lot of technical issues with Charlotte's department to make our way to the actual planning board hearings in February and March of 2022. But between there, we got approval of our mobility management plan. We've worked with the MEPA office at the state level, got a certificate issued from them, allowing us to proceed from an environmental review side of things. We've been working with Mass DOT. We executed development covenants with the city, and that ultimately led to unanimous approval of the site plan approval application by the planning board in March. And then we've continued to work through some additional permitting items at the state level, all with the intent of preparing our construction documents and getting ready to submit for our building permit application in relatively short order. But it's been a very busy year. We've been working hard to work through all our necessary permits and approvals and advance our design with the intent of getting construction started, hopefully this summer if everything goes well.
Thank you.
I can stop there. I could dive into the history of the variances, but I think that really paints the picture of what we've been up to over the last year.
Does anybody need to hear Ann Fullerton, Brockelman? Yes, Ann Fullerton, speak, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mike, so does your team feel confident that 6 months is going to be sufficient for submission?
Yes, I think it does. We're getting really close, so I think the 6 months will be adequate.
I don't have any other questions. I do appreciate the timeline that you showed as a slide. That would have been a helpful thing to include in the package, but regardless, I'm glad you provided that. It was helpful.
Thank you, Ann. So I'm all set with this because I have this also, this attachment we had from Matthew Snell. And I think it highlighted a lot of the little dates and questions that I had. Ann Brockelman and Catherine, do you have anything you'd like to ask or comment on? No? Is that a no? Say no or shake your head so I'll know what's happening. All right, so
No.
thank you. All right, so without further ado, I think it's reasonable. I think it's a good question, Ann, about the 6 months. So they're not back here again if everything goes well. It just seems that more and more things are opening up even better outside. So maybe things start moving along. It's been a very hard couple of years for all the developers and constructions and stuff with product and
Madam-
jazz. So yes.
Madam Chair,
Hello.
I will note,
Yes.
I don't want to interrupt, but while this is a fairly straightforward case, public comment is necessary before the board votes.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlotte. At this time, so the applicant's made his choice. We asked a couple of questions. We will, as protocols, open it up to the public. Charlotte, would you help us with that? Is anybody from the public here?
Yes, Madam Chair, I would be happy to. Polly Pook has their hand raised. Polly, you are unmuted.
Hello, Holly.
Hi, thank you so much. I just wanted, this may be inappropriate in this context, but I did want to let you know, and I also speak for our building management. I'm from Brick Bottom Condominiums, and the planning board had asked the owners at 15 McGrath to work with us regarding shadows that were cast and resultant snow and ice problems by their building. And I just wanted to let you know that Mike did reach out to us and we were able to find a very successful and useful mitigation strategy. And providing that they follow through on that, we have no further objection to the current massing.
Well, that's great, great, great to hear. Thank you so much. I know you folks really pay attention to what's going on over there at Brick Bottom and all the artists and stuff. So I'm glad, Mike, thank you for accommodating them because it makes everybody's life easier. Thank you so much. Is there anybody
Yeah,
else
we were
other
happy
than
to do it.
Holly? Great, thank you, Mike. Anyone else from the public? Charlotte?
Members of the public, if you would wish to speak and you have not already, the way to indicate that is you can press the little button that looks like a hand that's on your control panel, and that will let us know that you want to speak. I will give you a few seconds to find that, but as of right now, I'm not seeing anyone with their hand raised. Madam Chair, I don't think there is anyone else that wishes to speak.
Thank you, Charlotte. In view that there's nobody else ready to speak, I'll close the public portion of 15 McGrath Highway, P&Z 22039, and open it up to the board if there are any final comments or questions. Seeing none, we'll go forward for a vote. I'm asking the clerk to please make a motion. Catherine, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the applicant's request for an extension of the hardship variance identified as DRA number 2020-0334 for matter P&Z 22039.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second,
Who did that?
that was me.
Seconded by Ann Brockman. Thank you. All in favor, as we go around, would you please state your opinion? Ann Fullerton,
I'm in favor.
thank you. Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Thank you. Catherine Garavaglia
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show it was unanimous, all 4 members voting in the affirmative. Thank you. Good luck, folks. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Next on the agenda is 26 Clyde Street, number 2. It's a new case as of tonight. Catherine, could you please open that?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to open matter P&Z 22-010, 26 Clyde Street, number 2, where the applicant is seeking relief from the required percentage of windows on the face width of a shed dormer in the NR Neighborhood Residence District and requesting a hardship variance.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Charlotte
Good
speaking.
evening. Yes, Charlotte.
I'm
Mrs.
just
Burns
about to
here?
promote. Yeah, I'm just about to promote Jeff Burns to be a panelist. Jeff, I will make you a panelist and then you should be able to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Hello.
Hey, there they are.
So that would be me, Jeff Burns, and my wife, Leah Burns.
Good evening.
We're the owners of 26 Clyde Street, number 2, and seeking this hardship variance. Leah, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so I'm not sure, we're sort of new to this. I don't quite know what you need from us, but we're happy to sort of walk through, give an opening statement if that's helpful.
Please.
Great. So yeah, so we're seeking relief for the number of windows in our dormer. Our dormer is 24 feet wide, and we currently have 12 feet of windows. We're seeking relief on several grounds. First, we inherited this violation from the seller. We were unaware of it when we first bought it. In the short-term hardship, we would need to rebuild basically an entire wall of our home. We both work from home, so that would make cause significant disruption for our ability to work, making part of our home uninhabitable for a pretty significant period of time while we fix that. And then in the long term, we're in this space with we would, I think, need 21 feet of windows, which would be make it significantly more expensive to heat and cool this space, causing a significant financial burden over time, especially when we think about the price of natural gas at the moment. So that's sort of the main basis that we're seeking a hardship variance.
When we had a couple of questions. When I look at the plans, I'm looking at A202. And I don't know if everybody has that in front of them. That's the shed dormer we're speaking of?
That's right. That is the building as it is built today, and most specifically, that's how the shed dormer is currently constructed. So 2 single windows and then a double window across a 24-foot face, 12 feet of windows total, spread across the whole face.
Are you the first owner of this condo?
Yes.
We are.
Okay. And did you buy it from the developer?
We did.
Yes.
Who was that?
That would be
Brian Lavelle.
Yeah, Brian Lavelle.
Lavell?
Lavelle.
E, with an E, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I personally, before we go any further, I get very disenchanted with developers or applicants or whomever that change the rules without permission. And that's the whole idea of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I always say to people, we're not here to say no. We're here to say yes, but there are certain rules and regulations and guidelines that we have to follow. And we are the exception to the rule. That's why you come here. So we welcome you, and we know you're in a kind of a hard spot, but shame on Brian Lavelle for pulling this on you and on the city of Somerville. And, say buyer beware, that old expression. So I'm venting personally. I think it's really crummy to do that. You come into a city, you want to develop, you want to make something nice for people. You have nothing but your reputation at the end of the day. So I'm outing him that he did the wrong thing, and now you guys are here tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me something. So you're all set to go with this the way it is. It's already done, and that's your work area. And I remember from speaking to you before about what would entail with your neighbors, with the staging and all that stuff. Because this is a variance, and variances are tough. I think you've been pretty explicit. I don't know if some of the board would like you to speak a little bit more to this. I get it. I see where it is. And right now, how I'm looking at the plan, and you architects that are on the board here, Ann and Ann, that whole section of roof is how long? 50 something? What does it say here? It's so small I can barely read it.
Madam Chair, it's 52 feet, 5.5 inches.
Inches, the roof, right? And this here is how long? 30 something?
The dormer is 24 feet.
It is 24.
Yes.
Yeah, this is good.
According to the elevation. So, Madam Chair, can I ask a couple questions of Jeff and?
Please.
Yeah. I apologize. Yeah. I'm a little confused in that it's a case that I don't know. Some of the other board members may remember the variance. So the elevation we have in front of us is the built condition, not the approved condition.
Yeah, there's some strangeness to this because, you know, it's like a construction permit was approved for this plan as it was built, but there's also the design review process, and this obviously did not pass design review. That is part of why this ended up the way it was, where it was actually built this way. So there's also the third page in what we provided to you that shows what was eventually approved in design review, but what didn't end up going back through the construction permit process, which is why it was not built in a conforming fashion in the first place. So it's sort of like multiple permittings happened, and this set of plans ended up getting carried forward through to the construction phase. Is you know, it's kind of what I understand from Brian. So yeah, it's I know it's a little funky.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I have all the information I need in front of me. So I have your narrative, which is 2 pages, and then I have a set of plans that is 3 pages long, but I don't see any duplication in the set of plans that I'm aware of.
So the second page of the plan, how about let me share my screen.
Yeah, if you could, that would be very helpful.
Let me figure out how to do it real quick. I don't use this too often.
This is Charlotte speaking. Sorry, I'm Jeff. I'm going to make you the presenter. It should give you a notification that you're able to share your screen.
All right.
You should now have that ability.
We'll see if that works.
This is Raisa speaking. I'm here and happy to answer any questions that the board has as well.
Give me a moment here, folks. Let's see if I can do this still.
I would have liked to have seen in our plans, for us to have looked over what you were expected to have done.
That's in there.
Is that what you're getting to me?
Yeah, that is what I want to show you. It is in there, but obviously it's easier to show than tell. If I can find the button. Showing. Bear with me, please. How do I? Oh, gosh. All right. Can you see our screen now?
Not yet.
No.
Not showing anything. How do? Oh, hey, there we go. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Oh, we don't have that. Not the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, we don't have that.
That's why we're confused. We do not have that drawing.
There's this drawing.
We don't have that.
This is what you have.
This is what we have
This is
today.
what you have.
Yeah, this is today's condition. And then this is as it should have
And
been.
A202 is what you accepted.
Yeah,
Okay.
This is Raisa speaking. If
I
I
see
can
the
just clarify, the plans in front of you are not the plans that were submitted for the application. This was submitted for the previous one that was withdrawn. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, we
What are you
apologize.
saying? The ones we have the ones we have here that are the A200s, what's the date here?
yeah, so there's an
In our
A202.
packet?
There are two A202 pages because they're the same page, but obviously one is the first version and one is the second version. So it's a little confusing to refer to them.
We only got one set of plans.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. I was pretty sure I had resubmitted all of this, including this version of it to you. So I apologize for that. Does it make it a little more clear though to see this is, this third page, which you should have had, but obviously don't, is, how it is meant to have been constructed.
Can you go back up to the second page? That's actually the one we don't have.
Oh, yeah, here you go. So here's how it is today.
And what is the overall width of the dormer as constructed? Is it the same width
Mhm.
in placement? So it's really the fenestration, the window
That's right.
opening and
Right.
sizing. Okay.
Yes. That's it. That's it in a nutshell.
And Raisa, so basically the drawing that is in front of us right now was submitted to ISD for permit, and the one on the second sheet 202 was submitted to planning for planning approval. Is that the gist of how there was a miscommunication?
I can't speak for that, but what I can say is this, the document in front of us right now, that was submitted part of the original application. If you recall, it was withdrawn due to improper noticing. And the applicant only submitted the plans that were part of the packet that was sent to you.
No, I guess I'm referring back to the builder's condition, like why the variance wasn't followed. And so I'm trying to determine is what is drawn that is in front of us that was actually built. Did ISD receive this version of it and planning received the second version of it initially?
From what I understand, the plans as submitted for the certificate of zoning compliance and the building permit had discrepancies. So what was approved per the certificate of zoning compliance was brought forth with a building permit, hence the construction errors, if that clarifies it a little bit.
Madam Chair, this is Charlotte speaking. If I may step in to supplement that, I think
Thank you.
part of the question may also be who reviewed the different drawings. ISD, because this is in the neighborhood residence district, the planning preservation and zoning division did not get involved with this case in the slightest until it was brought forward for a hardship variance. So it would have been ISD who reviewed, various people in ISD who reviewed both the building permit set and the certificate of zoning compliance set.
So what we're looking at here on the screen right now, Charlotte, is what was presented from the developer to the inspectional services.
Yes.
No.
Okay, that was what was presented to inspectional services, and it was approved. And then when they went along to the zoning, they changed it to the design that we have in our packet, which is the bigger windows. Yes. Is that what's happening?
I
Yeah.
thought it was the reverse, Madam Chair. Zoning first and then permit set.
The building permit plans were different from the certificate of zoning compliance plans. When they went before the for
Right.
the building permit, that was different. But the plan that
So
was
this is
initially
what they,
was accurate,
yeah,
yes.
but you're still not answering, I'm saying that. But which ones were presented to the zoning board and that were approved? Is this packet that we're looking at on the screen, the bigger windows?
Can you clarify that question? What do you mean by the zoning board?
Yeah, in other words, because then to the compliance or certificate of the zoning for compliance, right? When they went first to the inspectional services, the building department inspectional services with the smaller window plan. Am I right?
Yes,
Put
that
that
was,
back, please, would you, Mr. Burns? Right. That's what the developer came to the city of Somerville, to the inspectional services, the building department with this plan, and they said, okay, right?
yes.
Okay. Now they go forward and build, and we end up with this, but the way the zone is written, it was supposed to be the larger windows, which we have in our packet.
Correct.
Which would you show us the next, Mr. Burns, show us the next, that A202,
There you go.
the ones that are the different date. Yes,
Should be there now. Yep, the larger windows.
now that's it. So this is what's coming to us tonight, that technically, unless we give you a variance, you'd have to build these windows,
That's right.
right? Everybody on board with this? You architects too, the lawyer here? So, in your hardship, as you're saying, which I have all in your, report here. Okay, so we all understand now what we're looking at? Anybody on the board want more clarification? Ann Brockelman.
So, yes, so just to make sure, the previous design did not require any variance because it was conforming.
Yeah,
It was by right. It was by right. This, what we're looking at, it just passed zoning as a matter of protocol. But then now it requires a hardship variance because you wouldn't be complying. You have too few windows, and I always want to bring the technical dimensions back to the spirit of the zoning ordinance, which is, we just don't want people to pop up dormers for closets or storage, for example. We don't want blind, opaque dormers. That's kind of like the spirit of, being neighborhoody and scale, have a sense of scale, and, it's for habitation. That's the spirit of the law. That's why there's a minimum opening requirement, which you fall under by how many feet?
9 feet.
9.
9 feet?
Yeah, there's
So
12.
that's like,
Yeah, there's 12.
12 feet of windows.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
It's
there's
not,
plenty of light.
yeah, if we could pick this computer up and carry it right to the next room, I mean, you would see that that room is bathed in light. It's 12 feet of windows, it faces outwards. It's a lovely room just the way it is. 21 feet of windows would just be a lot more fenestration, and that's certainly what the zoning says you need to do. So it sounds terrible. We're like, oh, we need relief for 9 feet, but we already have 12. It already is currently 50% of the dormer's width. It's awesome. So yeah.
may I correct that a little bit?
Yeah.
I don't think zoning requires that the full width be windows. There's a minimum.
21
Right?
feet.
So you to comply, you wouldn't have to bring it up to this drawing, which is basically wall-to-wall windows.
So,
that's the
okay.
dimension I was asking, because that will be the minimum required. So we'd like to know the extent of the hardship, right,
Well,
that you're asking.
So our reading of the zoning with Ray's help has been, the zoning specifically says for a shed dormer, that the dormer's maximum width is the width of the windows plus 3 feet. So it doesn't explicitly state what the window minimum is. It instead is inferred from the maximum width of the dormer. So with a 24-foot dormer, 3 feet of empty dormer wall of face, means we would need 21 feet of windows to satisfy. So that is the minimum width of windows that we would need in this dormer to be zoning compliant, is my understanding with basically with Ray's help here ahead of this meeting.
Which is this drawing, Jeff? So you were saying this drawing is the minimum? That's surprising me.
The drawing you're seeing
Basically
right now
require a wall of windows.
with the larger set of windows, 2 double windows and a triple window, if you will. I know that's not very technical, but the drawing you're looking at right now is the conforming version, which is 21 feet of windows in a 24-foot dormer. That's the conforming version to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, that surprises me.
It surprised us
It would
too.
look like every dormer is required to be a glassy dormer. Don't you think, Anne, Catherine?
I agree that seems like a prohibitive reading and not logical. I can see how that would be the case if it was, say, like a 6-foot wide dormer, something much less substantial. Where we, like you were saying, Anne, earlier, we were trying to control the fact that people could not just not put a window in.
Right.
But it does seem prohibitive to me to expect people to essentially make a ribbon of glass out of their dormer minus 3 feet.
Exactly. Yeah. Can we go back to what you've built? What has been built?
There you go.
And just as a matter for record, the drawings, these IC permit drawings and the zoning before, is it the same architect? I know it's Joe, the architect, in the title block.
Yeah, I got both of these from the architect via the builder. So these are the ones that went through all the various processes with the city. I just cut them out of the main plans.
Okay. I don't have a further question, Madam Chair.
Okay. So let me, yes, Catherine, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a slightly different line of questions for the applicant. You said that you both work from home. Can I ask what you both do for work?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm a assistant director of communications for the Harvard School of Engineering. So I do a lot of media, multimedia production, media relations, press releases, that kind of thing.
I'm a manager at Athena Health, which is a healthcare services company.
Okay. The staff memo indicates that you purchased the property and then went to go get the occupancy certificate yourself. Is that accurate?
No.
So it's a bit of a story, but so the certificate of occupancy was going to be issued the day that we completed the purchase. So basically I think Hans came to do the final inspection at like 11:40 while we were at the lawyer's office finishing up all of the purchasing documents. And so it was sort of when we learned of these violations, we had actually just sold our previous unit
And purchased this one.
And then that is why we needed an extension of a temporary CO, because if we didn't get that, the entire deal would have fallen through. So that's why we were to issue a temporary CO.
Which would have left us with no home.
You agreed to close without an occupancy permit in hand for a new build.
We closed with a temporary certificate of occupancy.
Did you accept any type of or require any assignment of the building permit from the contractor or the developer?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Sorry.
That's okay. In order to get the occupancy certificate, you have to comply with the building permit. If you guys were the ones applying for that, you would have assumed the obligations of the developer under the permit.
I think the answer to that is no.
We weren't the ones. So the builder, the seller, was the one who was applying for the certificate of occupancy, right? Because he couldn't sell it to us without a certificate of occupancy.
When you purchased without it and then have pursued this, it became your obligations and rights to comply with the same.
We were not aware of that.
So we didn't close without a certificate of occupancy. That wouldn't have been possible. Our loan would not have been released if we didn't have one. We had a certificate of occupancy in hand. It happens to be a temporary certificate of occupancy.
You had a temporary, which is not the same, and it looks like it was conditioned.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. Okay.
And condition that what? What was the condition, Catherine, that they changed the windows?
Yes, it sounds like there were multiple violations that were found because this wasn't built in compliance. And when they closed, they accepted the conditional temporary occupancy permit and accepted those requirements.
Yeah, so we were aware when we purchased it of 2 other violations pertaining to the dormer. We were aware that we were missing a soffit, and we were aware that the dormer ridge line needed to be dropped a foot. So those were the 2 violations that we were aware of at the time of purchase. And then we learned of this one later, and maybe it was on the seller who just forgot to tell us. I don't quite know the timeline, but so that's when we have fixed last week. We fixed the other 2 violations. And so this is the only one that we're coming to for a request for a hardship because of the significant amount of work that it would require.
We didn't become aware of this violation, this third much larger violation that we're seeking a variance for, until the construction permit to solve the other 2 issues was, that process tried to go through, and then this appeared. Obviously, it's always been there. It just was not known to us, or I'm not sure who it was known to be perfectly honest, but we didn't know about this particular element. It might have changed our thinking with closing and some other things if we had, but at the time when we were doing all this, fixing the ridge setback on the roof line and the dormer face eave soffit were even to us clear to be relatively straightforward external adjustments that could be done with no disruption to us, and just the need to actually change it, but it all just worked to be done easily in just a few days, which it just was actually.
I understand that. I'm also just looking at it from a perspective of whose obligation it became once you chose to accept the conditional temporary occupancy permit, and whose responsible it was, and whether maybe some more diligence should have been done or not. Here we are now, but that does seem to put it together in a nutshell.
It would have been difficult for us to do diligence on the day of our closing with a loan hanging in the balance on the very last day that the rate was available to us. It's very likely if we had halted the closing proceedings, we would have lost that loan rate and lost the ability to actually purchase this property entirely. So there was an immense amount of stress and pressure over the 2 days that it took for us to close and obtain that temporary certificate of occupancy, and also then secure our loan funds. As you might imagine, it was very plain to us what was going on. The builder was really clear, like, I'll help you get this fixed. We'll sort that out, on the back end. But otherwise, it's not a big deal. We can change it. This isn't a huge thing. It's external stuff. And we said, okay, well, that sounds good. We want to get our money so we can buy this from you, so we will have a home. Because at that point, our old home was no longer ours. We were in between properties. And certainly we could have found refuge somewhere, stayed at a hotel, but as you might imagine, incredibly stressful to be in the middle of moving in here. Our stuff was being moved here. We had movers hired, the whole deal. So I appreciate where you're going. It was frankly beyond us to be any more diligent than we were at the time.
I certainly understand what you're saying, and I certainly have been in a similar circumstance myself. I'm not trying to diminish it. I'm just, there are choices available even if they are not pleasant.
We hear you. We understand that.
I'm not as familiar with, I don't have the actual zoning code memorized to speak, but it does seem that 21 feet of windows out of 24 seems like a lot of window space to me. Oops, good, pass back.
Madam Chair.
And, yes,
So Raisa,
and Fuller for the record.
I'm looking at the zoning code right now, just trying to make sure I understand the reference. Do you know which code section has the width minus 3 foot?
Yes,
Language?
it's Article 3.1, 13I, under shed dormer, under face width.
Madam Chair, may I also
Yes.
add, while Anne is looking, but in the report, right, so it also says that approximately 5 feet more required is sufficient by 5 feet. So
Yes.
12 across plus 5 is 17. So that's 24 minus 17 is 7 feet instead of 36 inches non-window. So, I mean, that's not going to impact my decision tonight. Obviously, I think it looks fine. You know, we just, I'll just say that my vote is a yes. It looks fine in terms of scale, just visually, but I am not very happy about the lack of clarity in what actually is required. So maybe that's between us and staff another
If
time.
I can add, Madam Chair, ISD believes it's approximately 5 feet of window space required that the relief is needed for. The applicant was advised to provide drawings that illustrate the exact amount of relief required. It is up to the discretion of the board to see if the information provided in front of you is sufficient to make a determination on. But the applicant was
But it
advised.
seems like they are equally confused as to what's required. If they're deficient of 5, you see that panel between the double and the single? That's about 5 feet, right? Or 3 and a bit more. Each of these windows is 3 feet. So if they're deficient 5, they connect that. That looks fine, and there's still a lot of opaque space. But if they are only allowed 36 inches of non-window, then you're going back to the heavily glassy dormer. So I don't think, unless they go back to the architect, I don't think we're in agreement of what relief is required and what the zoning says. So that's a bit frustrating, and the lack of clarity in the report as well. Even though I agree it's built, it looks okay. You know, if it was one window less, I would say maybe add one, but as it is, I don't have an issue with granting the hardship variance.
Ann Fullerton,
Yes, Madam Chair. I do see the reference, and I could see how I see the strict interpretation, how it's being read as non-conforming. But I also my practical sense is that it's not a practical rule. And I don't think that the built condition is actually inappropriate for what was the size of the dormer. If it were one window, I would certainly, one double hung 30-inch wide window, I would, and versus 20 feet of window, I would certainly have an objection to that. But I do think that the way the code is written is not necessarily practical for a wide shed dormer.
thank you. Catherine,
Yes, either Ann or Brysa, would you please redirect me to the zoning ordinance provision? Like, where is it? I've got 3I open. Is that what I'm looking at here?
Yes, so it's Article 3.1, 13. That's what you're looking at. Yes, it's the correct
There you
section.
go. So I happen to have the zoning code right here that I can share with you, because obviously I've read this a lot to make sure I can familiarize myself as much as I can. So the part in question I have highlighted, which is the A part, face width max, it says windows width plus 36 inches, which is, yeah, strong in our case.
I don't agree with this interpretation that's being presented of this at all. That's a maximum that it could be. It's not requiring that we have windows and then a 36 inches of other space. That's the maximum. You can have less. There is no minimum that is stated. And am I reading this wrong?
So that specific note A is determining the width
Okay.
of the dormer. So the face width of the dormer, not the glass line, the face width of the dormer is whatever your window assembly width is plus 3 feet. That's the way that this code is written.
As a maximum.
Yeah.
A
I
maximum
don't know if the
width.
applicants know that, yes. I don't know that the applicants know that this code is also new to all of us. So bear with us.
No,
but I agree with,
yeah.
I agree with Ann Fulchen that makes sense with, one of these smaller dormers, right? But when you scale up, the more you scale up, 3 feet, 36 inches is itty bitty, of opaque wall space in a huge dormer. So I don't think it scales up very well.
If this code was written as maximum window width, then
Right.
then I could see you have room to reduce. But instead, the way it's written is basically the maximum width of your dormer.
Plumber.
I'm all set.
You're all set. Thank you, Catherine, very much. Ann and Ann, what do you guys, two architects here? What do you think about this?
I
What's
don't
your-
think
you know,
further
I know what
discussion,
you said, Ann. Yeah, right.
yeah, doesn't need the
And
applicant.
Fulton.
Maybe we,
Okay, I'm gonna, we'll take a pause. We've been hashing this out. They made, a brief presentation. We have their paperwork. I'd like to open it, if I may, Charlotte. I think this would be a good pause to open it to the public, to get
Yes,
some
Madam
feedback
Chair.
from the neighbors. Because part of this also, in their write-up, is about the staging and being out of there and how it affects number one and the neighbors. So let's do that if we could.
I am happy to do that. This is Charlotte Lee speaking. For anyone who is here and wishes to speak on this case, the way that you can indicate that is by clicking the little button that looks like a hand. That will let me know that you want to speak, and I can unmute you so that you can speak to the board. An alternative is to submit a message through the chat just saying that you wish to speak. We cannot accept comments through the chat, but you can let me know that you want to speak. I'll give it
Thank you,
a
Charlotte.
few moments. But Madam Chair, I'm not seeing anyone indicating that they want to speak.
Okay. All right. Well, okay, so hearing that and seeing that, there's nobody want to speak, we'll close the public portion and go back to the board to interpret this and digest it. Part of your comment to the Burns family is that 26 Clyde #1 would be inconvenienced. I'm surprised they're not here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they get notices like any other abutter. Obviously, we know them. They say that again.
You spoken to?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're friendly with our downstairs neighbors. It's three like mid-late 20-something working guys. They're great. They've obviously heard the banging and clanging of the other work that needed to be done. So they're certainly aware that the dormers had work, and they're aware that we're doing this and that we would need more work, a lot more work done that would obviously bug them quite a lot. But they're not here. They're not here. I mean, yeah.
How far are you away from the house beside you on that side?
On that side, so the home has a driveway between us and them, but the property line is very close. So there would probably, to do this work, they'd probably end up setting up some of their scaffolding and other staging stuff in their property in order to get the right level of access to the whole dormer face. They were able to squeeze like just some ladders and stuff to do the other work because they just had to get up on the roof. But for this, I think they'd have to do like a full staging and scaffolding and work with that neighbor, Mitch, to put a lot of that stuff in their driveway. So it would definitely disrupt them as well. I think we mentioned that in our narrative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're friendly. They would.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wishing these folks came to speak to us. So when you're up in your room there and you're looking out that window and you look at your neighbor, what are you looking at? What's their windows? How are they aligned to you? And
They're-
what is that? There's a roof line, or is it a dormer there? What's there?
They're a little bit lower than us. Our windows sort of look down on.
Yeah, they
their
have,
face.
the front of their building is what looks like maybe it used to be all on its own, like a single fam, and then there appears to be some kind of a shorter addition on the rear. So we look half into their upper story windows, which are a little lower than ours, and then half over their roof, their back roof, to the next property, which is a 3-decker.
Right.
And we could
That's
see
it.
right into the windows of the 3-decker. It's I don't know, 50 or 70 feet away.
That's why we love Somerville. We
Yeah.
love being close to our neighbors.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, so ladies, how are we gonna go forward with this tonight? Do you feel strongly that we can have some answers for the hardship variance circuit considerations? Or did you want to see other plans? I'm glad they were able to show us the actual plans that were approved. And what we have here is what is expected. I really don't have a problem with what we're looking at, what's done. And I think it's a lot of work to go through to change it to this.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, please.
So in general, I agree with you, but I do think that the other set of plans should be part of the record for this
I do
approval.
too.
Yeah.
So I do think that we would not be able to vote tonight for that reason, because the
Fine.
package is not accurate.
I agree. And I think Ann Brockelman agrees. So we want, where's Ricer? Hi. So you hear this, what we're looking for we're not gonna vote tonight. We're looking for some more black and white information for us. We want to see, would you, one of you architects, spell it out, please, for the Burns and for the, and for Ms. Ricer, what you want exactly.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ian Brockelman.
I mean, in the interest of time and efficiency, I wonder if Raisa could just make sure that drawing was attached, and so they don't have to come back.
The one that
Okay, well,
shows
yeah,
what,
I do agree with Anne. I mean, we're approving what's not even in the set. So procedurally, we shouldn't approve a drawing that's not impacted.
right.
So
I mean,
I'm sorry,
it seems
I
like
just
we're
changed
kind of on
my
the same
mind.
page, but I think we need everything. I think we need to have, where this is a variance, especially in the business with the developer and the business with the applicant. I think in order to put this to rest, we have to have all our i's dotted and t's crossed. Is that the feeling of, Ian, is that the point you're bringing out? Yeah, I agree. And I think, Ian, we were talking about procedure earlier. I think we should do this, unfortunately. Catherine, what do you think?
I'm of a different opinion here. I think that the plans, albeit weren't officially submitted, were presented in a public forum. The public has had the opportunity to review these. These were included in a previous submission, from what I understand, related to this. So I do believe there's been ample opportunity for people to review and comment. And it was noticed, so anybody could have walked by if they had any concerns. I'm prepared to vote, and I don't have any reservations about doing so.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I think the final vote here is we want the complete set of plans. Do I have shaking of heads or something? Yes? Is that how we're gonna go forward then, unfortunately? But I think it's like, I understand what Catherine's saying about transparency and stuff, but it's very confusing. It took us all this time to iron it out. So, do we all, Raisa, do you know what we need from your office to tell the Burnses what to bring in for the next meeting? If we can do it the next meeting is fine with us.
I believe in the staff memo, and I've said it before, if the applicant can provide the exact amount of relief needed in the drawings with, the label where it should go, I think that would really help, and we could put that part of the packet at the next hearing. And I wanted to clarify the drawings that was just presented. Those drawings were put on reports and decisions on the Somerville website for the previous application before it was withdrawn. So it was available to the public, the previous drawings, and this drawing that was submitted part of the packet as well.
I do think
But
that
technically, it wasn't. Yes,
sorry
I'm
to,
sorry, Ian.
no, we're talking over each other. Sorry about that, Madam Chair. I guess I would like to see the approved and the built as part of the approved package with the specific amount of relief.
I agree. And Brockelman, you're shaking your head, yes? Okay,
Yeah, sure. So it should be a quick meeting, the next one, if everything's in
and
order.
we'll be all together and everything will be labeled properly, and we can go forward with that.
So just so we understand, Madam Chair, I'm sorry. So the documents that we showed you, and we need to actually say we need this specific amount, even just handwritten on the side.
Okay, cool.
Both sides.
But we want plans that you have.
Yes,
We want to transfer them to this.
yes.
Ian Fullerton.
Yeah, I don't care if we see plans specifically. I would like the elevations, the elevation set that you showed.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, you understand?
Yeah.
we will- yeah.
I'm sorry.
The two different drawings I showed earlier, I will make sure that those getting sent included with you. I will also make sure that in addition to showing in very large text the as is and windows, that it also states the amount of relief that we're seeking on top of the dimensions that exist or should have existed. Cool. Okay. Right on. I got it. Thanks, y'all.
Ann's good. I'm good. Catherine's all
Just to get-
set. And Ann, that's what you would like. Yes, Raisa?
Just to get clarification, moving forward, the direction of the board is to provide the drawings that we saw tonight as part of the packet, as a complete packet. Okay, understood.
Right? Is that, I'm saying yes, yes. Yeah, that's what I thought too. All right, so we need to have Charlotte, you're on board here, right, listening in?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm here.
So you'll work with Raisa and any other concerns we have, yes?
Yes, we will. If there are any questions, she and I can chat.
Thank you, that's what I'm looking for. Good, thank you. So at this point, we need to have a motion to continue. And the next meeting is
The next meeting is May 4th.
May 4th. And does that look like we can put on that schedule for that day? Charlotte?
This is Charlotte speaking. We have 2 other cases that have been advertised for that night, but I don't think 3 cases is an especially onerous agenda.
Okay, and can the Burnses be on tap with the 4th, okay?
I think so.
I'm fairly, yeah,
Okay,
Wednesday the 4th
right.
is, yeah, Wednesday the 4th is no problem for us. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, Ms. Catherine, would you make a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to continue matter PZ 22038, 26 Clyde Street, to our next meeting, which is May 4th, 2022.
Thank you. May I have a second? Seconded by Ian
Second.
Fullerton. All in favor, as we go around, please vote. Ian Fullerton,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Catherine Garavaglia,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show it's unanimous to continue 26 Clyde Street, number 2, until our May 4th meeting. Thank you, everybody, for all your questions and answers. And to the Burnses, we look forward to seeing you on the 4th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, folks. Is there any other business tonight? No, there's none on the agenda. So without further ado, could we have a motion to close the meeting and adjourn?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Seconded by
Second.
Ann Brockelman. All in favor? Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
and Catherine Garavaglia.
Aye.
And Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show it's unanimous. Thank you, ladies, for your input tonight. I really appreciate it. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Bye, everyone.
Aye.